My pilgrimage group today passed from St. Mary Major down to St. John Lateran to the Scala Santa to Santa Croce in Jerusalem, and then I went back to St. Mary Major on my way back to the hotel. In fact, you could just hear the bells of St. Mary Major ringing behind me just a minute ago. And as we were coming back, kind of making a beeline and said just back to the hotel, we passed through a big park, and there were some Jehovah's Witnesses in the park with a sign that said, "Do you want to be happy?" And they had their flyers to hand out, and I didn't make any comment as I walked by, it wouldn't be helpful. But then just a minute ago, passed some Mormon missionaries, some LDS missionaries crossing the street. Again, didn't make any comments or anything, I just said a Hail Mary as they went by. And I, on the first hand, respect to them for going out and doing this, because I imagine they're feeling like, the early apostles felt like going out and being these guys with this new strange message. Just, they weren't really on street corners necessarily. Paul did it a few times, but they were this new thing that people were like, oh, what are these guys doing, right? So good for them for having the courage to go out there. On the other hand, though, in the city of Rome, come on, it's all this Catholic around. Who are you going to get in the city of Rome with non-Catholic stuff? But actually, I bet quite a lot, because Rome illustrates the problem that we see lots of places where there might be all the Catholic stuff, and most everyone is probably baptized as a Catholic. But the practice of the faith is very different from people having been sacramentalized and having the architecture around, right? Very often those are very distinct things that people have the church, but they don't use it, right? And so it's very important for us to understand that we can't just lean on the architecture and, everyone, they get baptized, right? That takes care of it. No, because many of them, through not having been evangelized and really properly catechized, to love the faith, to love the Lord, to understand the sacraments, they're easy pickings, if you will, for Jehovah's Witnesses or Mormons who have this really nice sounding message. Not true, but it's nice sounding and it seems to solve a lot of problems. But actually, if we would do what we need to be doing as Catholics, as Christians, as missionaries, as evangelists, people would understand that, well, do you want to be happy? Absolutely, yes. In the sacraments, in the Catholic Church is the best way for that, because God made the church, the Catholic Church, with all of her things. It's the church from the beginning that Christ founded, everything else split off from it. He made that for our happiness. Jesus knows, because he made us, what's going to make us happy. That's why he gave us the Eucharist and confession and anointing and marriage and priesthood and all of the sacraments to make us, that's how we be happy. But we have to understand it and know it. And so, those of us who work in the church, especially those who care about this kind of thing, let's not lean on, well, we have the pretty churches and we have, everyone gets baptized basically, right? We have to have that person-to-person human evangelization, and that's how we get people to be excited about their Catholic faith and live into that and recognize that, yes, in fact, what they already have, if they just would but use it well, is how to be happy.